We are live. I really need you guys to listen to this part. So you can't talk and listen at the same time. Nobody should be saying anything while I go over this next stage in your project. So we have done some research about destinations that sound interesting to you, done some research about activities at those destinations that you want to check out. But now it's time to start really focusing on a more realistic budget, as well as how are you going to get to this destination and where are you going to stay at this destination, which is what VACA.4 is really focusing on. So if you click on that in your thread here, you should be recording. We're good. Okay, cool. Due date deadline of Friday with the rest of this project. This is something we're going to be focusing on today and tomorrow, or block day, I mean. For this stage in the project, it's time to think about how you're going to get to your destination and where you are staying there. So before doing anything, you got to pick one of these three budget options. Your small budget is $0 to $1,000 for this entire vacation. All right. The medium budget is $1,001 to $3,000. And then a large budget is anything 3,000 plus is kind of your amount of money that you have to spend on this vacation. It includes activities, includes food, lodging, transportation, all the stuff that you are going to be paying for while you're away from. Okay. So once you've picked one of these destinations, or not one of these destinations, sorry, one of these budget categories, you must stay in that range. If you go over the range that you choose, you will lose some points on this assignment. So you're locking into a budget at this stage in the assignment. So you need to pick a small, medium, or a large budget for your project moving forward. So you can use any tools we've covered in class, like the budgeting spreadsheet or the cost tracking sheet to help you budget. You can use ones that you've either used before or your families have used, or just stuff you've experienced with budgeting thus far. Or you can use a combo of both. I don't particularly mind. I just care that you guys are staying within the budget range that you chose. So once yes, Caden, what's up?
What if you go under the budget?
Under is great. Over is bad. You can always go under budget. Okay, cool. That was a cool hand raise. Okay, so once you've chosen small, medium, or large, you want to focus on transportation. How are you going to get to your destination and what that's going to cost? Are you going to drive there? Are you going to take a train or a plane? Is it a cruise ship type situation? Are you walking to your destination? Are you hitchhiking to your destination? How are you getting there? What's it going to cost? Okay. Same question is true for lodging, where you're going to stay once you get to your destination, whether that's a hotel, a motel, an Airbnb, or something like a Vrbo. That is also at your destination and in your price range. So with this in mind, you're planning this trip as a travel agent, so you must choose a public place to stay. For the purposes of this assignment, since you're planning vacations that other people could take, you cannot stay with friends or relatives for this project. You can do it outside of this project when you're planning a legit vacation. But for the purposes of this, you must choose a public place to stay. It is a very easy way to save money by staying with friends and family. But since you're a travel agent, you do not have that privilege for this project. So to actually complete this assignment, there are three main parts to it. These are helper questions. They're not required. I'll get over that here in just a second. So you got a text box or an upload box for you to put your submission thus far. First thing you need to do is tell me your budget range. You can tell me if it's a small budget, a medium budget, or a large budget, or you can tell me the grand total of your travel and lodging thus far. Both of those are good. I just need to know what budget you are in so that I can make sure you're not going over on the other steps along the way. Okay, your second part of this assignment is to copy and paste links or tell me in a few sentences about your transportation plans. So these can be links to flights. These can be links to cruises. These can be, if you know how to make like a guide in Google Maps or in Apple Maps, you can do that and copy and paste that link so I can see all the spots, all the stops in mind. Or you can write a few sentences that are telling me about how you plan to get to your destination, which is where these helper questions come in. If you're finding yourself kind of struggling to find how to answer this question number 2, you can answer these helper questions, which will get you a complete sentence or a complete paragraph, about your transportation plans. Step number 3 is exactly the same as step number 2, except it is about where you're staying, where you're lodging, where you're going to be spending your nights at these destinations. Same set of helper questions. Again, these are not required, but they do help you like get the paragraph written or the stuff ready so that I can understand how much you're spending on how you're getting there and where you're staying. So this is a little bit more of an involved process since now you're having to keep track of some different funds. I will link the cost tracking sheets for you guys in the assignment once again. Give me just a second. But if you go to last week's thread, the Tuesday to Friday one, there should be this cost tracking sheet from Wednesday, the 29th. So I will reattach this to VACA.4, but you can also get it from the cost tracking sheet if that's, sorry, last week's agenda, if you would prefer that instead. So this is your big one where you actually have to, you now have a constraint of a budget that you have to either stay under, not go over. VACA.4 due Friday with the rest of these assignments. We're getting into stage 2, and then stage 3 is the final like presentation, quote unquote, where you'll make your visual aid to deliver all the information about all the research you've done thus far. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions about what I'm asking for VACA.4? Anybody have any concerns or anything they want to share? Okay, cool. Okay, so I'll let you guys go ahead and get started on this. Choose a budget range. Tell me a little bit about how you're getting there and where you're staying once you do, which are important things to do when you're on a vacation. All right, good. Thank you guys. I'm gonna wrap this up, and this time is yours. I'll be wandering here in just a second. We are going to assume that you guys are leaving from your current destination of Sammamish, Washington. So if you just go to, like, let's say I want to go to Ciudad de Mexico, or Mexico City is what it's called. So I'm going to pull up Alaska Airlines because I know that's one that serves us right now just by straight Googling what flight I want to book with, because I don't particularly want to drive from here to Mexico. That's a long drive. That's a lot of damage on a car, a lot of price and gas. It's worth it to me to just fly there. First, I want to pick a budget range. So I want to go medium budget is a little bit more what I'm comfortable spending on the lower end of medium, but I don't want to be limited by just $1,000 in there. So I'm going to pick a medium budget to start off. Go to text, and I can click these little dots and the bullets. Number 1, I'm going to pick a medium budget. I'm personally going to say how much it costs at the end once I figure that out, but I'm just going to leave it as a medium budget for now. Okay, so we're going to depart from Seattle. We'll go SeaTac instead of Payne, and then I don't know the call sign for Mexico City, so I'm just going to type that in. There it is, Mexico City. Okay, cool. I want to leave. Probably want to take about a 4-day vacation in the summertime. Sounds best. So I'll leave on a Friday and we'll come back on a Tuesday. It's just me. I'm planning a trip for myself personally. So I am going to find flights. Okay. Let's not look. Oh, there it goes. It's going to think about it for a second. Gotcha. So there's no flights available for that specific window. So let's see. Maybe it's too far in advance. Let's go back to June. Let's go next Friday to the 19th. So I have a 5-day vacation. Okay. See what we got in that direction. Man, I cannot find anything to Mexico City. Okay, let's go somewhere a little closer. You know what? Let's go to Portland. I'm going to change my direction and instead pick something a little bit closer. So I'm just going to pull up Google Maps. Okay. All right. Okay, so it's going to automatically pick the spot of my region that we're currently in. So I'm going to look up just Portland, Oregon. so I can see how far it is to drive from here to Portland. Okay, I know you guys know how to use the map, so we'll go fast. Don't look at my my recent locations. Anyway, okay, so it's going to be 185 miles to get from here to Portland. I know that my car can go that far on a full tank of gas, which costs about $70. So I'm just going to have a little note that from Seattle area to Portland is 185 miles, which is plenty in my specific kind of car. 185 miles and a full tank cost me about, I don't know, $76, $77 or something like that from Costco. All right, so now that I know that it's going to cost me $76 to get there, but I also have to pay to get back. So this is actually times 2, which is what, like $152 in transportation on a shorter trip like Portland. So keep that in mind from here. So, hi, good morning. Next, I want to look for somewhere to stay for my trip in Portland. I've got $1,000 to $3,000 to spend. I've spent 175 of it on gas so far. We're going to assume that my car is in good working order if I'm taking a road trip. But I want to look up hotels, or I could just straight Google lodging, Portland, Oregon, and see what kind of comes up. So 259 hotels in the Portland area alone. There's some travel guides like the official Travel Portland website if you're looking for something a little bit more local, a little bit more entertaining is not the right word, but a little bit more enjoyable maybe than excuse me, a little bit more enjoyable than just like a chain hotel. I personally am a fan of the McMenamins chain. There's also the Kennedy School. I don't know, the Crystal Hotel looks cool. So I'm just gonna go here, just kind of clicking around. I'm not really doing too much committing yet. I haven't made any plans, but I'm gonna go to the website and let's see what, oh, it's a McMenamins. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna book a room and see how much that room is gonna cost in my range of the 14th to the 19th. So if I go Friday the 14th to departure of June 19th, I want to search and see how much those rooms are going to cost. Okay. So here's where I can choose how much money is going to happen, right? I'm a bigger dude and personally need a little bit more room than a double twin. So I'm going to choose the queen suites, which I recommend you do as well. You don't want to squeeze. It's only, they're the same price. So we're going to do that. Let's see. So there's some availability, which is good. We'll just click the extended stay discount, which brings me to $118 per night. So I'm just going to kind of click through all this. I don't want the wine package. I don't want any of that. I'm going to continue to book. Don't need all of this info, but it is going to give me a total from Friday to Tuesday. So I can see all of my rates and taxes, which is going to cost me about $600 for a $700 for a 5-day stay. So I'm going to add that to my notes here. I'm going to stay at Crystal. I forgot what it was called. It was called Crystal Hotel in Portland. It's about $120 a night times 5 nights is going to equal me about $685. Okay, so my current total is 152 plus 685. If anybody can do quick math, I'm going to pull up a calculator, but I can't think that big right now for some reason. Okay, so with the calculator, I have 152. Good thing I don't teach math because this would be embarrassing. 685. Okay, $837 for travel and lodging. So There's a lot of things that you need to consider that make things like I got this extended stay discount is only one adult. If you're booking for you and a partner, or if you're imagining a family vacation, that's going to increase the price. If you're selling a more solo vacation, like what I'm demonstrating here, that lowers the price. But less people are going to want to take a solo vacation. Most people tend to travel with groups. Or if you imagine you and your friends are all traveling and staying in one room, you can split the cost, but it's a lot of things that you should consider. I'm mostly just showing you how I got to these numbers, and we can go from there. So I have budgeted, quote unquote, $837 for travel and for lodging thus far. So if I go back to Canvas, I'm still within my range of travel and lodging because I'm going to put $835. I'm under budget. I'm under my $1,000 for the whole trip still. So we're doing pretty good. All right, $835 for travel and lodging. And then my transportation plans are to drive my own car. If you need to rent a car or borrow a car, that decreases your gas costs because you're probably splitting it with the owner of the car, but renting it's going to be more expensive because you have to pay to have the car. Drive my own car, which costs about $76 for a full tank, and I need 2 full tanks to get there and back. Which is going to equal about $152, give or take. These are ballparks. Okay, I'm going to stay at the Crystal Ballroom, or not the Crystal Ballroom, the Crystal Hotel in Portland, Oregon. Oh, let me add, it's 185 miles to my transportation plans here. 185 miles. Crystal Hotel in Portland is about $120 a night. I'm staying for 5 nights, which is going to equal about, what was it? It was like $685. That's $885. $685 here. Okay. So I know that $685 plus $152 is giving me my $835 number right about here. This is about the bare minimum that I'm looking for here on this assignment. So I can have a general idea how you're going to get there, what kind of plans you have to get there, where you're going to stay. I can add a link to the Crystal Hotel to my response. Just hit enter and then tab, Control V, enter. That'll make it into a live link so I can check it out later. You need at least this much if you're going to be for your submission. So this is 835 total so far. And then I can add that to my cost tracking sheet once I link that to your I can't think right now. Once I link that to your 8.4, I'm going to go here underneath the line for my Portland, Oregon 5-day trip. Add a bullet point with word like this. Travel costs about $152. And lodging costs about $685. Yes, question.
Don't you also have to include restaurants? Because realistically, you're not gonna spend that time in the restaurant.
Today is just travel and stay. Restaurants is later this week.
Oh.
That's why I have the cost tracking sheet so that when I come back for restaurants at a later day or different activities that I'm interested in, I have an idea of how much each thing is going to cost so that I stay within my medium budget, which I'm going to add right here. So today, just think about how you're getting there and where you're staying.
Are you allowed to cut down on staying time if you realize it's gonna go over after restaurants?
Yep, absolutely.
It was originally not even close to over budget. It was actually under budget, but after restaurants it was over. So I'm gonna cut down.
Yep, you'll find out how much things are gonna cost and you'll have to make the adjustments therein. So this is what mine's looking like so far. just for example's sake, this works for you. You guys can approach this document however you like. This is how I'm going to do it for demo's sake, so that I know I'm taking a 5-day trip to Portland with a medium budget of around $1,000 to $3,000. And so far I've only spent $800 of that total. So if you want, you can put a running total at the top here, $835. You will have to do the math manually on Word, but if you make a spreadsheet to keep track of all these things, or use your budgeting spreadsheet for a specific Portland endeavor, that will tell you how much things are costing automatically, so that you have fast access to how much things are costing. Generally, since there's so many different ways to find out how you're getting to places, this assignment is going to vary depending on where you're going and how long you're staying. But this is an example of kind of my thought process, how I personally plan vacations as an adult who has experience doing this. So you can copy my steps, or you can just kind of look around again, throw some spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. I can help you. So you have an idea of what's going on here. So I'm just going to click submit. And that's about the bare minimum that I'm looking for out of this assignment. So I know that you're keeping track of how much things cost and stuff. So thank you guys for listening. You need at least this much for VACA.4. More is better, so you can give a better presentation.
So
yeah.
I
Yes.
think you would probably only get partial credit for this one since it's the bare minimum.
This one you'll get full credit because it's under budget. It's got the 3 questions answered with a little bit of consideration, and it has at least 1 link. But the more that you do, the more points you'll get on the final presentation because you'll have the research already done. So this is worth full credit, but you need at least this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you guys kind of see my process? Those of you who are listening? Yeah. Okay, cool. Any questions about what I've gone over thus far? I am bummed that I didn't get to demo the flights. Maybe Mexico City's just really busy this time of year, or maybe Seattle doesn't fly to Mexico City, even though it was one of the offerings, Alaska at least. But don't let that dissuade you. If yours ends up, if you're staying in the country, it's probably going to be a lot easier to fly out of Seattle. You might have to connect, which is something to consider. But yeah, I'll quit yakking. That's basically what I wanted to show you as far as the process of kind of figuring out how you're going to get there and what it's going to cost.